A return that we have not so eagerly been anticipating. Monday Night Raw saw your new World Heavyweight Champion celebrating so ceremoniously in the ring. And who was he interrupted by? None other than Goldberg. Goldberg. Now, to be fair, I'm not complaining. I am a fan of Goldberg. My dad is a huge Goldberg fan. My earliest wrestling experience was when Goldberg beat Hulk Hogan for the championship. I was a baby. I was fast asleep. My dad leapt from his chair and was cheering and losing his mind. And then in the background, he hears, and my mom yells at my dad. So that is my first encounter with wrestling, and it is all tied back to the man himself, Gunther. Goldberg, sweet Jesus. 2 G names. Go figure. And it's a singular name. Look at that. Let me tell you, I did lose my mind when he came out because I wasn't sure if this was going to happen. There have been rumors about Goldberg injuries and whatnot, and especially with Gunther reclaiming his World Heavyweight Championship, I wasn't so sure if we were going to be getting the Goldberg match this soon. So I'm excited to see him. It looks like he's doing good. Looks like the injuries are not holding him back if there were any. But, now there's a championship on the line for this match that wasn't necessary, but we'll get into that. August, how you feeling?
I love it. I love it so much. I fucking love Goldberg, and it's so funny because I always hated Goldberg growing up. I was like, I fucking hated this guy. I fucking love Goldberg. I don't get why people are so pissed at this because of the sole fact Goldberg never got a retirement match. We never sat down and said, hey, this is the end of his career. This is it. And we're not necessarily... Behind the scenes, we are. This is very Dave Bautista Triple H, where they're not on screen saying, hey, this is the end of Batista's career, but everybody knows. All the backstage reports have said it. Everybody knows the story going into this is the end of Goldberg. This is his final hurrah. We know that. The fact... Goldberg is a big enough name. End of story. End of show, period. This match did not need the title. However, the fact that this match has the title, Goldberg's winning. You're welcome. Goldberg is winning the match. If you think I'm dumb, if you think I'm stupid, Goldberg, Kevin Owens, Goldberg, the Fiend,
Brock Lesnar. I know it wasn't for the title, but we'll get into it.
The whole point of this here, I do think, is... Every report is saying, hey, Goldberg's coming back. It's a one-off retirement match. He's going to do this, whatever. And Goldberg is going to squash Gunther on Saturday night's main event. It is going to be about a 30-second match. He's going to hit a spear, a second spear, a jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. And both men walk away. Goldberg gets one last world title reign, which does a number of things. It establishes Goldberg to the audience as his son is about to start training for wrestling. We have seen that. The Goldberg name is pretty big. They need to establish it and say, hey, remember who this guy is, because in 5 years' time, his son is going to be on your screens. And it also establishes the World Heavyweight Championship in certain ways, because now when you look at former World Heavyweight Champions of this current championship era with this championship, Goldberg is now a former world champion here. This establishes this belt as, hey, real big names have now held this championship. Legends have held this championship. It does big things, and it will blow every dirt sheet out of the water because everybody's reporting this is a one-off retirement match. He is back to do a nice little 5-minute match with Gunther, put Gunther over, and set Gunther up for SummerSlam. Awesome. Gunther will look great. Goldberg gets his retirement match. Fuck that. That's not going to happen. You're welcome. This is the spoiler. I think we're the only people saying this right now. I don't even know if Destiny is saying this right now, but Goldberg is winning this. It is going to be a squash match. And then Gunther gets his, just like they did, the exact picturesque SummerSlam, or sorry, Survivor Series against Brock Lesnar, That is going to be this Saturday night's main event. And then WrestleMania, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar. When they did the follow-up, that is going to be your SummerSlam, where they have the 6-7 minute war. It's a shorter match, but Gunther gets his championship back. He goes through this hellacious 7-minute battle where somehow they fit in 40 different wrestling matches into one small 7-minute segment. I genuinely think that's what happens here, because Gunther right now he's a big name. He could be a very good fighting champion, and we've seen some semblances of him being your good guy, your babyface, but he has that arrogance, and this is a big move that can get the audience behind him in terms of sympathy, because people are going to see this happen and they're going to be pissed, and they're going to say, what the hell is WWE doing? Gunther shouldn't be losing in a squash match to Goldberg, the same way WWE did with Jey Uso. They're subtly building your sympathy towards Gunther. Why does he have to fight Pat McAfee? Why did he tap out to Jey Uso? Why did he get squashed by Goldberg? Why did he get cashed in on by Seth Rollins after reclaiming the title from Goldberg? WWE is doing a good job in terms of this. Goldberg's going to win, blow it all out of the water. That is my prediction.
I would like to rewind all the way back to Survivor Series, where it was the returning Goldberg against Brock Lesnar. Everybody going into that match was saying, this is going to be a squash. Lesnar's going to murder him. He's going to wish he never came out of retirement. And then what happened? Spear, jackhammer, count to 3, done and over with. My dad was running laps around our living room. I tell you, it was insane. None of us saw it coming. And then it set up for a beautiful championship match at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. Now, obviously, I use the term beautiful. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But we did get the rematch between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. In August, you and I have been talking about SummerSlam and what's going to happen all night long in all of the other episodes that we have recorded that have most likely dropped before this one. So make sure you guys go back and check those out. Here's another thing to take into consideration. You look at me and tell me that Goldberg's retirement match is going to be at a throwaway Saturday night's main event? You're wrong. His retirement match will be on the second biggest stage of them all, a 2-night, the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. Now, I've been very vocal about Gunther and Jey getting that rematch at SummerSlam. However, you're going to look at me and you're going to tell me that I'm wrong, that Goldberg's last match isn't going to be at SummerSlam. You're wrong, babe. And obviously it's going to be against Gunther. That's not even deniable.
I will raise you, because Destiny has been very adamant it is Jey Uso Gunther going into SummerSlam. So I'm going to throw her a bone here and say there has been one man who has been stalking this world championship, and I even mentioned him in this video, Seth Rollins. And if a Braun Breaker interferes in this match and cost Goldberg this championship, and now if you want to move away from Gunther versus Goldberg and have Jey versus Gunther, you can very, very easily squeeze in the retirement of Goldberg versus Braun Breaker, because Seth Rollins made Braun interfere to cost Goldberg the title, because Seth doesn't want to fight Goldberg. You could very easily squeeze in that dream match last minute and have Goldberg go off on that instead.
I hope and I pray that that's the direction that they go. I don't think anyone in WWE Creative is smart enough to come up with that, especially with what we've been seeing as of late. However, listen, there are so many directions that this can go right now, and I'm amped for all of it. Now, obviously, at the beginning of this episode, I was saying that we were not so eagerly waiting for Goldberg, and I have to say this. His last several matches in WWE were not great. He hasn't put on good performances, and especially with all of the reports that he's been injured and had some setbacks in his training, that doesn't give me any high hopes for the quality of matches that he's going to put out during this run, if it is a one-off match or even turns into multiple matches potentially. It's not having me on the edge of my seat to see what Goldberg can do, because I know what Goldberg can do. I've seen matches of him in his prime, and I've seen what he's done recently. I'm not chomping at the bit to see it. I see August's point where having Goldberg win the World Heavyweight Championship would solidify that he is a big name, and it would put him in the ear of newer fans that don't necessarily know what he's capable of, and it would put that bug in his ear as his son does come into wrestling in the next few years. But also solidifying the World Heavyweight Championship as a legitimate title that has been held by legends, to paraphrase exactly what August said. I see it. I do. But my thing is, if they are just giving Goldberg the title, a washed up, injury prone old man who can't run with the big dogs, I'm not necessarily excited for it. I don't want to see them give the championship to Goldberg. I really don't. I don't think he's done anything to earn it, except for ride off the coattails of his fame in the 90s. He was phenomenal then. I don't see him being phenomenal now, and that's why I'm worried that this is going to go the way that August is predicting.
If your match is spear, jackhammer, you don't need to be good in the ring.
You kind of do.
All he has
just
to do... No, but there is a difference.
Nope.
There is a difference between Undertaker in his 50s and men in the prime of their career, such as Braun Breaker and Gunther. If anybody can carry Goldberg... I was going to say that, though. If anybody can carry Goldberg to a good match, it is Braun Breaker and it is Gunther. Him versus Undertaker was a major wrong decision because both men were well past their prime. And you need a younger star to carry the older talent in the match in terms of just athleticism, right? Not the storytelling aspect, but you need to have the younger stud in the ring so they can carry the pace of the match like that. Gunther can do it. Braun Breaker can do it. Goldberg versus Braun Strowman was incredible. So fuck you for that, because I love that match. Goldberg versus The Fiend sucked because Goldberg doesn't do spooky
Bray Wyatt
shit.
Sucked.
Bray
Wyatt sucked.
Yeah, Goldberg doesn't do that's crazy. I can't believe you just said that.
I said it, and I'll be saying it again. I'll say it again and again and again, and I'll have a hot take on it eventually.
Goldberg,
you can quote me on that.
Goldberg doesn't do the spooky, doesn't do the supernatural. Goldberg does squash matches better than anybody in the entire history. And Goldberg can do a war. Even if he gets injured 30 seconds in, Goldberg is finishing the match at SummerSlam against either Braun or Gunther. You saw him get concussed by The Undertaker.
Yeah, by the Undertaker, as if Undertaker had anything to do with it. It doesn't matter who you put in the ring against Goldberg, nobody's gonna stop him from concussing himself backstage, hitting his head against the door. Nobody's gonna stop him from running full speed spear style into the ring post and also wonking his head on that too. That's not the fault of the Undertaker. That is his old age and lack of coordination. How dare you?
Okay, first off, nothing to do with his old age. Thank you, old age. Goldberg's been doing that shit since WCW. Like him punching a window repeatedly that wasn't gimmick to get it to break before it damn near made him bleed out on live television. That's who Goldberg is as a person, and that's why I love Goldberg. It's going to be a war at SummerSlam, whoever he faces. He's not retiring at Saturday night's main event. My official prediction is I do think he's beating Gunther for the world title. That's the only reason they would take the title off of Jay, to hotshot it onto Gunther here so quickly, put Jay back in that tournament. To do it like that, it feels so messy, I think, just because it's a last-minute decision of, well, shit, we can, right? Triple H isn't in charge. Don't forget that. If Triple H was in charge, this would not be Gunther versus Goldberg for the world title. I guarantee somebody who used to watch wrestling in the 90s in the higher-ups of TKO is like, oh, hold on, I know Goldberg. That's that dude, right? He makes a shit ton of money. Yeah, put him in the world title picture. That's what we need to do. And now Triple H's like, fuck me with a rake. Let's make this work.
I gotta tell you though, in 5 to 10 years' time, we will be seeing Gage Goldberg main eventing WrestleMania against Braun Breaker. Mark my words, it's gonna be great.
Might not be great. He might concuss himself multiple times. But it'll happen.